Good evening and thanks for watching Wgxa News at 10. I'm Camille Gale. Aaron Leedy has the night off. Several top stories developing right now tonight. We're waiting to hear if an inmate will be put to death. We're also following up on how law enforcement in one Middle Georgia county is working to make it easier to get help to you in case of an emergency. These stories are coming up a little later, but first, the threat of severe weather is moving into our area. Chief Meteorologist Jeff Cox joins us now in the Skywatch Weather Center. Good evening, Jeff.
Camille, good evening to you and good evening, everyone. Jeff Cox with you in the Skywatch Weather Center on this Wednesday night. As Camille said, severe weather in the forecast for tomorrow. It includes all of Middle Georgia, and most of our area is at a threat level of 2 out of 5. So because of this threat, our team has issued a weather warn day for tomorrow. Right now, damaging wind gusts seem to be our highest concern. We're expecting quite a bit of storm activity to move through during the day on Thursday, so certainly a day that you need to stay weather aware. Later in this half hour, we'll break down the weather warn day for tomorrow and what it means for you. We've got some new data coming in right now, so we'll have some analysis on our storm threat. On top of that, if that's not enough, we've got some really hot weather coming. We'll break down when triple digits are possible. That plus your 10-day forecast just minutes from now.
New tonight, a father and son were in their home when a fire broke out. Battalion Chief Timothy Johnson with the Macon-Bibb Fire Department said no one was injured, but added that the home sustained heavy damage. Firefighters were still working the scene around 9 o'clock tonight. The fire also downed power lines on the street. Drivers are reminded to never drive over downed power lines. And also, take a look at this video sent in by one of our viewers, Brianna Sharp. Macon-Bibb officials responded to a fire at a used tire shop on Pionono Avenue and Guy Payne Road. Law enforcement has yet to identify the cause of the fire, but the investigation is still ongoing. WGXA will update you as the story develops. And 2 people are in custody after a bank robbery in Butts County today. According to the sheriff's office, a woman went into the bank and gave a letter to the teller indicating the woman had a bomb. The teller gave the suspect money and the woman left. Thanks to the community's help, authorities were able to quickly identify the suspects, and they're now being charged with armed robbery. Tonight, we know 2 people have been charged in the killing of a Baldwin State prisoner. Timothy Dunnigan and Trinity Bustler were served warrants for murder and booked at the law enforcement center today. Bustler is serving out a sentence for burglary and false imprisonment, and Dunnigan has been serving a sentence for an armed robbery conviction. But now the 2 are charged in the killing of David Watson. Officials suspected Watson got into a fight with another inmate. New information today in the case of Marion Wilson Jr. He's convicted of killing an off-duty prison guard in Milledgeville over 20 years ago. Now he's aiming for clemency. WGXA's Jayla Whitfield joins us in the control room with more information on what this petition says. Jayla.
Marion Wilson Jr. and Robert Butts Jr. were both sentenced to death for killing a Milledgeville man outside of a Walmart in 1996. Now, Butts was executed last year, and Wilson is scheduled to be executed tomorrow, but a new petition by his lawyers is aiming to drop the death sentence by the prosecution. In the petition, it states that there's no credible evidence that Wilson himself killed Parks. The petition is 28 pages long, and Robert Doonan, the executive director of Death Penalty Information Center, says clemencies have been granted before in the past.
In fact, there was no evidence at trial that Marion Wilson actually shot anybody. The evidence suggested that the co-defendant, Mr. Butts, who was executed about a year and a half ago, was the one who was the killer.
Now, the parole board says the decision will not be made today, but instead they will make the decision tomorrow before the scheduled execution. There's a couple of ways that this can play out. They can either sentence them to life with or without parole, eligibility, deny clemency, or issue a stay of up to 90 days. Also, we're going to be looking to see the Georgians for Alternatives to the Death Penalty have been working to end the death penalty for 20 years. They actually sent me this statement. I want you guys to check it out. It says in the statement that Marion Wilson's clemency, we're working towards a world in which we don't discard people based on their conviction, but where there are merciful and restorative alternatives to give people the resources they need when harm is caused. And they said they plan to have 10 vigils around the state, including a vigil at Macon City Hall at 6:30 p.m. tomorrow night for the scheduled execution. Coming up in the show, I'll break down Georgia and the executions that have happened in the past and the ones that will continue to happen and how much it's actually costing taxpayers. But for now, live in the control room, Jayla Whitfield.
An update on a story we told you about last night. The California-based owner of a senior living facility on Vineville Avenue in Macon says it's working to resolve residents' allegations about bed bugs and inoperable air conditioning, and security. CCH says they're working to resolve the issues but need the residents' help by complying with the instructions on how to take care of their homes. To read the entire response from this facility's owners, visit our website, wgxa.tv. Now, one dispatcher usually takes 80 calls in his or her shift in Houston County. That's according to the Houston County 911 Center. But what if you're in a situation where you couldn't call them? New tonight, Paige Buchanan shows us a new system in the works to make sure that doesn't happen.
Houston County 911 knows the address of the emergency.
The Houston County Sheriff's Office is now working to ease the minds of those who can't pick up the phone for an emergency.
Houston County's taking it a step further and looking out for its hearing impaired community.
Captain Ricky Harlow with the Houston County Sheriff's Office says it all started when that community approached him.
This was several years ago. They had met with us, and after sitting down and listening at their concerns, we felt that it was an avenue that we need to pursue.
And what they came up with was a new way of communication.
I believe that with the text to 911 that they're going to actually have access to us, which is great because it's going to be equal access for everybody.
Veronica Edens has been with the Houston County 911 Center for about 17 years. She says that this new service will be great for those who are hearing impaired.
Okay, they're not going to be able to talk to us on the phone, so if they can have the access to be able to text us, then that's going to be a great impact for us.
While Edens says the service will be beneficial, there are some drawbacks.
Well, if you text, it's not going to be a real-time conversation. So it may take, yes, they'll get the information, but it may take them longer to respond to us. And as you know, in high priority situations, we need to know the information as quickly as possible.
But regardless, she says relaying as much information as you can is essential in an emergency.
So we definitely want to make sure the community is educated on what they need to tell us, and it's the most important information we can get, like weapons, things like that. That's very important.
Captain Harlow says when a new system is active, dispatchers will be ready to help their community even more.
And anything that we can do to add another tool to protect the people in the community, we're going to do it.
In Houston County, Paige Buchanan.
Captain Harlow says they are currently in the negotiation stage of their contract with the consultant. He says it takes anywhere from 8 months to a year to get everything up and running. According to the Federal Communications Commission, if a call center requests the text to 911 service, text messaging providers must deliver the service in that area within 6 months. Other counties with this service provided include Fulton, Liberty, Oconee, and Richmond. Mental illness straight ahead, why some reports claim hospitals aren't doing enough to help.